You have to make money. You have to get your money up first. And I used to be the other way, but I'm not anymore. I used to think that you make what you want, your ideas are more important than money, your hustle, and all of this stuff, right? You would look at, I don't know, a picture of Jeff Bezos on a shitty desk, and you're like, see, this is where he comes from. This is where you can make it out too, but you can't do anything from zero. All of these people that we look at who came from nothing, and we the question that we don't ask ourselves is what was the advantage that they had. And this is not a pessimistic thought. Everybody has their own advantages. You just have to figure out what advantages that you have and what will work for you. Jeff Bezos was given $200,000 by his parents in order to start Amazon before Amazon even began, right? So that was his advantage. He had a job as some VP or something where he was making $200,000 a year in 90s. That is insane amount of money for the fucking 90s. So you have to realize what your advantage is. You use those advantages in order to make money, and then you get to your ideas and you get to scale your ideas, right? I've been running my own production company, Harvest, for the last 4 years, and I've realized that you can execute your idea with the little money that you have, but you can't scale your idea. In order to scale your idea, you need money. That's just how the world works. Without money, you're irrelevant. And as soon as you have money, you are relevant. And would you put your ideas out when you're relevant, or would you put your ideas out when you're not relevant? It's pretty clear, right? So for the longest time, I used to think you keep executing your ideas and you make the money through the ideas, and that's still possible. I still see that happening. But like Shah Rukh Khan famously said, nobody listens to a broke philosopher, right? You have to be rich first for people to actually give a fuck about you, and you could take care of your survival. Because like we were driving down the street the other day with one of my friends, and he was like, every single person on this street here is thinking about money. Either they're thinking about how to get more money, how to save more money, how to get out of debt, how to give more, make more, take more, whatever it is. Everybody's constantly thinking about money. And if, and like, everybody's constantly thinking about money because that's just how relevant money is, right? Like, I know I can keep executing my ideas, and at some point they will have a lot of momentum, which would lead to scale, which would lead to bringing in a lot more money. But until then, I need money for two things. I need money for scaling and survival. Those are the two key things that I need money for. If I don't have money to survive, I would be constantly worried about survival. And there's very, very, very few people in this world who can look beyond the survival and still do what they need to do, right? Like, it's hard to make a film when rent is due. It's hard to think about new creative ideas and building new worlds when the worlds that you live in is collapsing. When you don't have no money to pay rent or to buy food, it's hard to think beyond the practical reality of the world. And that's what all creativity is imagination, right? So it's hard to get there, hard to venture out in this world when it's hard for you to survive in this world, in reality, right? And second thing is skill. Now, you could make the best idea in the world. You could have the best idea. You could write the best script. You make a movie, you put it on the YouTube. Nobody gives a fuck, right? And I just used to think the other way around because I think I got this ego prize or boo boo prize from being a starving artist. But you can't be a starving artist forever, right? Like, at some point, you have to grow up, and at some point, you're going to be demanded to support yourself or other family members through you. And at that point, you will think about scale. At that point, you will give a fuck about how many people saw your idea and how many people are willing to buy it, invest it, or entertain your idea. So money is important if you want to scale and if you want to survive. First, make the money, take care of survival. Second, use the money to scale. And then third, keep pushing out and making your ideas at the scale that you are right now while that happens. That is also equally as important, because you have to make shitty ideas in order to make good ideas, right? You have to make shitty films in order to make good films. So keep making the shitty films while you try to survive. Focus on money. Once you have money, your survival is taken care of. Then with more money, you can take care of scale. And while all of this is happening, your shitty idea keeps getting developed. You get all the shitty ideas out of the way, you get all the mistakes out of the way, and then there's a point where your survival is taken care of, it meets scale, and you're also prepared to bring more refined work to your audience. And that's where it starts. That's where it works.